Okay, this video is going to show you how to use the fading effects that was shown in a previous video to fade the whole screen out and the whole screen in by creating a special final tile map that is drawn after everything. So this is what we're going to do it to this code. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go into graphics and create space for another tile map. So I put static, oops, can't spell static, tile map, TM block, we're going to call it, because it's going to block everything out. And then we need to find the create tile maps code. Now the easiest way of doing that is to go to class view, open code, open engine 7 template, select, don't double click, just select game 1, and then look down. Remember, it's alphabetical and the purple ones are your subroutines. Create tile maps, there it is. Double click that and it'll take me straight to it. So I've already got a background and the overlay in there that you could see in the video. So I'm going to create the blocker, as I'm going to call it. Now it doesn't exist, so I've just put a subroutine name in that doesn't exist, so it's gone red and it says the name create blocker does not exist. So I just right click and say generate method stub and it'll create it for me and stop moaning. Now if you update your engine to 7.02, there is a graphic in this engine that is 50 pixels by 50 pixels wide, and we can use this to create a repeating tile map. So we're going to use that. So let's start defining this tile map. So the tile map block equals a new tile map. Give it a name, block. Only important for if you're trying to work out what tile maps you've got on the screen. And we're going to set it to be the size of this rectangle from the engine. So we can say engine manager .tx, and it's that one, rectangle 50 by 50. Okay, so that just sets the size, remember that line. Now we need to put the graphic on that. So we ask the tile map manager to do that job, and we say tile, not tile portion, because we're going to use the entire graphic. Graphics.tm block, and we want it to appear right in the top left hand corner, so it's going to fill this tile map. So you say vector to 0,0, and the graphic is that engine manager TX rectangle 50 by 50. Okay, now if we leave it like that, we'll get a square block 50 pixels by pixels in the top left hand center. So what we can do is we can tell the tile map to wrap itself. So tm block.wrap equals true. Okay, right, we're also going to tell it what type it is. Now we want it to be drawn after everything, so when we say graphics tm block type, we put final, and that ensures that it's drawn last. Okay, so that's created it. Remember, that doesn't show it, that just creates it. To show it, we need to go to title mode in this example, and in my start title code I've got my other two tile maps displayed there, and I'm going to add this one. So I'm going to say tile map manager.add graphics.tm block. Okay, and that makes it visible. So let's just run that and see what we got. So we just added another tile map, and we're just saying to the engine draw it last after you've drawn everything else. And there you go. I made it white so we can change it to any colour we want. Okay, so I'm going to change its colour to red. So in here, because I want it, I could change this all through my program. So I'm going, in the title mode, I'm going to make it red. This. So I'm going to say graphics.tmblock.wash equals colour. No, let's make it blue. Colour.blue. I like blue better. Okay, just run that just to make sure that's worked. Yep, it's worked. We can't see anything, so let's just have a play with the alpha just to prove that this is working and it hasn't just gone funny. So tmblock.alpha equals 0.3f, so 30% opaque. So we should be able to see through it, and everything looks like it's been washed in blue, so it looks weird. There you go. So even the background looks a bit purpley. Black and blue is a bit purpley. Okay, so it is working and it is being drawn after everything. So what we're going to do, like we did in the fade tutorial, we're going to create some fade code. So first of all, we're going to create a variable called fade percent. I'm going to call it this time, no reason, and I'm going to set it to 25F. Okay, so this is, I'm just going to put a comment above that. I'm going to say percentage alpha change per second. Okay, because that's what it does. I'm then going to create a subroutine. So this is just underneath my title subroutine, all this, and this is going to be fade screen, I'm going to call it. Fade screen out, bracket, bracket, brace, brace. Now, all I'm going to do in here is I'm going to change the alpha. So I'm going to say graphics.tmblock.alpha. I want it to fade up, so I want the alpha to go from 0 upwards. So I'm going to add to the alpha, and I'm going to use the event manager to get a value per second, as it's called. I'll just type this in percent. Okay, what that does is that works out how fast everything's being updated in the game engine, and it takes your number 0.25 and it says, okay then, I'll work out a fraction of that so that in a second you'll have changed it by 0.25. That's all it does. Okay, so that's quite useful to make it, makes your game frame rate independent as much as you can. Okay, so if it's running really slow because you've got millions of things on screens, this will still give you roughly 0.25 of a change per second. The other thing we need to do is when that alpha hits 1, we want to stop. So you say alpha is greater than or equal to 1, then we're going to stop. We can't put that code in yet because we haven't created the event. Okay, so here we're going to turn off fade event. Put a bit of code in there. Okay, let's create that fade event that we can turn off. So if we go back up to our start tile, we want the alpha to be 0 to start with. Okay, so we want the alpha to, I'm going the wrong way here, aren't I? Yeah, we want the alpha to be 0 to start with. Okay, and then we're going to make it gradually opaque, and then we'll see nothing but blue. So we're going to create an event, and we're going to say add event. So we say new event. It's a new event we want to add, and we're going to run it as fast as we can. So 0.01F will do for that, and we're going to call it fade screen. That name's going to be important later, so spell it, make sure you spell it the same way twice. And what we want it to do is run a tick handler. Now that's what fade screen out is, so we're going to say fade screen out. That bracket closes the event, that closes add event. Okay, so that creates the event for us. We now want to, back here where we created our if, in our fade screen out code, we want to turn that event off. So we just say event manager remove, and that's where we need to put fade screen, spelt the same. Okay, so if we run that, now let's just have a look at it first. Make sure the block has got 0 for alpha, so it's not visible at all. Add an event that runs fade screen out. This will keep increasing the alpha of the block until it gets to 1, and then we'll remove the event. So let's just watch the effect of that, and it should take about 4 seconds overall. So there you go, fading out to blue. A bit like they do on TV game shows these days, because they'll use blue, don't they? So that gave us a fade out. If we want to fade the screen in, let's create another subroutine to do the screen fading in. So we say void, let's do it this way. If we put it just here, just above this one, void fade screen in, and what this one's going to do is we're going to start with a completely blue block, and we're going to gradually reduce its alpha. So we're going to say graphics.tmblock.alpha, and we're going to reduce the alpha, so we say minus equals, use the event manager again, and say value per second of fade percent. Okay, and we're going to turn the event off this time when the alpha gets to 0. So we're going to say tmblock.alpha is less than or equal to 0. Okay, and then we're going to say event manager, so we're going to turn the event off, and we're going to say event manager dot remove, and I'll use the same name, so fade screen. Okay, so that creates the thing that's going to do the fade in. So all we've got to change up here, make the alpha 1, so all we see is the blue, and instead of running fade screen out, we're going to run fade screen in. Okay, at the same speed, so it should be blue to start with, and then it'll gradually, the blue will fade away, hopefully. Let's see that running. Okay, now you can adjust fade percent as much as you want. Now when we fade in, we're actually still drawing the tile map, even though it's transparent. So what we must do is fade screen in, we must remove the tile map. So we say to the tile map manager, tile map manager remove graphics.tmblock. Okay, tell it to get rid of it. So when we run it, because you don't want the overhead of drawing the tiles on the screen even when they're not visible, and when it's transparent there's no point in showing it anyway. Okay, so that's how you can do a nice fade in and fade out effect. And obviously you can make this any colour you want, so I can make it red for a bloodthirsty game, assuming you've got a bloodthirsty game. Okay, and all you got to do to switch, if you want to do the fade in again, change that to fade screen out. So when it runs this time, it gradually fades to red. And you could have like some oppressive music or something running. Okay, so that's how to fade out everything and in. Quite handy for changing states. Like I say, when you're doing that, that's at this point where you've faded the screen to red, that's where you should do the next bit and like run the next mode. Okay.